this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
With no fees or minimums on checking accounts, it's no wonder that Capital One Bank Guy is so passionate about banking with Capital One. If he were here, he wouldn't just tell you about no fees or minimums. He'd also tell you about how Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist with your banking needs. Yep, even on weekends. It's pretty much all he talks about, in a good way. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bankguy. Capital One N.A., member FDIC.
Hey everybody, the official Big Bang Theory podcast is back, covering seasons 3 and 4 of the show. Each week, host Jessica Radloff speaks with crew and cast members like Kunal Nair, Mayim Bialik, and Kevin Sussman. Hear about the Easter eggs you may have missed, behind-the-scenes stories, and how certain real-life relationships shaped some of the most memorable storylines. Watch the official Big Bang Theory podcast on HBO Max or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everybody, it's me, Josh, and for this week's SYSK Selects, I've chosen an episode on placebos. It's an episode chock full of facts of the podcast, and yet Chuck comes out with one of the all-time greats right out of the gate. But don't stop listening then. The whole episode is amazingly wonderful, which is why I chose it. So enjoy it.
Welcome to Stuff You Should Know, a production of iHeartRadio's How Stuff Works.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh Clark, and there's Charles W. Chuck Bryant, and there's Jerry.
The placebo deucer.
No.
That was bad.
Chuck,
Yes.
have you ever heard of the word placebo, deucer?
Yeah, I've heard placebo.
You know what it means?
I do.
Oh, tell everybody.
I shall see.
No, I will please.
I shall please is what I meant.
I shall see.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
I shall please is what I meant.
In Latin?
Yes.
Right. So placebo. Everybody's heard of a placebo, and very famously, the placebo effect.
You want to know where that comes from?
The placebo effect?
No, the word placebo.
Oh, yeah.
14th century, it referred to hired mourners at funerals.
What?
They would hire mourners in place of family members, and they would start their mourning wailing with, not mourning, but as in M-O-U-R.
Right.
With placebo domino in region vivorum, which means I shall please the Lord in the land of the living. But in that, it means placebo. This article said it carries the connotation of substitution.
Weird.
Yeah.
That is fantastic stuff.
I thought so. This is from Placebos and Placebo Effects in Medicine, Historical Overview by Tisson, Kapchuk, Green, and Clegion.
Oh, Kapchuk. That guy is high quality.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, a lot of skeptics.
Ted
Kapchuk,
Kapchuk?
yeah. He's at Harvard. Let me tell you a little bit about Ted Kapchuk.
Okay. Of the Coney Island Kapchuks?
I just raised a lot of skeptics' hackles because some people see him as a huckster, a fraud, or everything that's wrong with placebos. These people would probably have a problem with us even talking seriously about the placebo effect in the first place.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's a really big deal that I just raised their hackles.
Okay.
But Ted Kapchuk is a former...
Owes me $50.
Right. Let me tell you about Kapchuk.
Yeah.
Now, he's a former acupuncturist.
Ah.
And he apparently had some sort of epiphany one day when he was treating somebody, and they started to feel better before he'd even used the acupuncture. Huh. So he started wondering, like, okay, what's going on here? And he started investigating the placebo effect. And in short order, he ended up as an instructor at Harvard and became one of the leading researchers into the placebo effect, which is a really strange journey because Harvard Medical School doesn't usually hire acupuncturists.
Yeah.
And he had like kind of a rocky road at first. Like he didn't know what he was doing with clinical trials, and he got publicly called out in the New England Journal of Medicine. And over the years, over the decades, I think this was the 80s that he really started to look into it. He, like I said, became the foremost researcher in coming up with quality clinical trials for trying to get to the root of what the placebo effect is and how to use it.
What years was that, do you know?
Well, he's still doing it.
Oh, but when was this, when he was started all that stuff at Harvard.
He got called out in, I think, a 2001 issue of the New England Journal of Medicine, basically for not using a control group in his placebo study.
Okay.
So, when you do a study, you have a placebo group, which is your control group.
Yeah.
And that basically is, I'm giving you real medicine, but I'm giving Jerry a sugar pill.
Yeah.
And in a proper study, I don't know who's getting the sugar pill and who's getting the medicine.
It's called double blind.
Right. So if you're studying just the placebo effect, I should be giving you a placebo and I should be giving Jerry no treatment whatsoever to truly...
I thought you needed 3 people, one with a real treatment, one with placebo, and one with no treatment.
It's another way to do it.
Oh, okay.
At the very least, though, you need the placebo group and somebody who's receiving no treatment.
Gotcha.
You see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we're skinning cats.
Well, if you're doing good science, researching into the placebo effect. But what's ironic is this whole double-blind placebo study came about because the placebo effect was first noticed by a Western practitioner by the name of Dr. Henry Beecher, who in World War II supposedly saw a nurse give a shot of saline to a soldier because they'd run out of morphine. But the nurse told him it was morphine, and the soldier responded to this shot of saline like it was morphine. And from that, Beecher was like, what is going on here? Started to investigate the placebo effect and ended up proposing the double-blind placebo study to prove the efficacy of drugs.
It goes back further than that, my friend.
Let's hear it, man.
Try 1785. The New Medical Dictionary, they described the placebo as a commonplace method or medicine. And then a short time later, in 1811, in Quincy's Lexicon Medicum, he defined the placebo as an epithet given to any medicine adapted more to please than to benefit the patient.
Like heroin.
So they were on it back in the early 1800s, which is surprising.
Yeah. But I mean, like, that's the basis of, like, snake oil and hucksterism, right?
Yeah, well, they called them bread pills back then because I guess it was probably some sort of, like, pill made of yeast is my guess.
Okay.
And Thomas Jefferson in 1807 even recorded what he called the pious fraud, and he observed, quote, that one of the most successful physicians I've ever known has assured me that he used more bread pills, drops of colored water, and powders of hickory ash than all other medicines put together. And people treated people with bread pills in the early 1800s. It was a thing. And like they were way on to the placebo effect and the fact that it seemed to work. And another dude named John Haygarth in the early 1800s actually started performing the first studies on placebo effect. And he said it went back to the Renaissance idea that imagination was the major mediator between body and mind.
Which is starting to be proven as possibly correct.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And in the 1930s is when they started publishing papers on the placebo and actually doing clinical trials. And they said one of their points in the 1930s was confidence aroused in a treatment, the encouragement afforded by a new procedure even. Like just people getting treated in a new way. People would say, oh, well, this is going to work.
Right.
And it maybe did work.
And then we're up to the 40s where Beecher comes along, notices the placebo effect himself, ultimately comes up with the double-blind placebo-based study. And what's ironic about that is the placebo-based double-blind study ultimately has split back off into the study of placebo again.
Yeah.
Because there were so many trials where the placebo was more effective than the drug, even though the drug worked, but the placebo worked even better. Yeah. And finally, in the 1990s, people were like, what is going on here? We need to study this thing in and of itself.
Well, yeah, because one of the things I had no idea, I thought placebos were only used in studies for efficacy rates. Mm-hmm. I did not know that there are doctors, always have been and still are, prescribing placebos as medicine. Yeah. Unknowingly, even though they're not supposed to. We'll get to that later.
No, knowingly.
No, unknowingly for the patient.
Right.
Even though they're supposed to tell the patient.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that toward the end. But I had no idea that they were prescribing placebos to people.
Yeah, and in their defense, a lot of times doctors are carrying on a tradition where they don't have anything else to prescribe.
Yeah.
But they can't say, if they say that to their patient's just going to go off and suffer. So at the very least, they can use the last ditch attempt of saying,
Psychological trickery.
Take this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking it. I just was surprised to learn that still happens.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if I've ever been given a placebo, and it makes me feel dumb as a patient to say, like, yeah, man, that whatever you gave me really helped. And the doctor's like, right?
Yeah, because it's the same thing as that high school
Sugar pill.
prank of like giving somebody non-alcoholic beer and telling them
Yeah.
it's real beer and watching them make a jerk out of themselves getting drunk.
It's exactly the same thing.
So let's talk about placebo. We assume that everybody knows what placebo is, but let's define it a little more clearly. The placebo effect specifically
Yeah.
is the very real phenomenon that people, when given a pill or some sort of medical intervention, that
Feel better?
yes, they feel
Yeah.
better, even though what they've been given is not medicine and was not actually a real intervention.
Yeah, and the placebo is the pill itself. That is the placebo, and the effect is what you just described.
Right, and it doesn't have to be a pill. It can be an injection. It can be fake surgery.
Yeah,
there's
true, and it doesn't even have to be pharmacologically inert. It can be a vitamin or like an aspirin, even though some argue that's not a true placebo.
yeah,
But sometimes that's what the doctor will give you,
right.
and call it, medication.
But they're very often things like a sugar pill,
Yeah,
like you said, pharmacologically inert, and astoundingly, depending on the size of the pill, the shape of the pill, the color of the pill,
yeah,
people will have different effects and responses to these things that are just sugar. So there's some really strange psychological things going on here. And at first, for a long time, everybody just kind of assumed it was just psychology, that we were tricking ourselves into feeling better, or we hadn't really felt bad in the first place.
right.
And we were being tricked into not feeling bad any longer, or
Yeah.
not thinking we were feeling bad any
Like
longer.
an offshoot of hypochondria, maybe.
Very much so, yeah.
This article says they've been shown to work in about 30% of patients. And
That's based on Beecher's finding. It was like 35.2.
yeah, that's
exactly.
what he found out in 1955. That's what they're still basing that on?
Yeah, but there's been other studies that have gone back through Beecher's studies and said, no, this
okay.
is not that much. Other people have found up to 60% respond to it.
Right. And basically one of the big questions is it a psychological effect, or are there actual physical responses that are going on? And there's been a lot of research lately that's pretty interesting, I think.
Right, so like we were saying, the initial idea was that it was all psychological, right?
Yeah, like, I guess we can talk about the two effects, the subject expectancy effect, which is basically if you know the result ahead of time of the pill you're going to take, you're going to end up feeling that result.
Right, so this
or
is
30%.
That's what a blind study seeks to prevent, is a subject expectancy effect.
Right.
And also the observer expectancy effect, which is what a double-blind study seeks to prevent.
Yeah, and that's important because different because it's all self-reported.
Right.
Which is always a little, hinky.
Right. So the other idea, if it has a psychological basis, is that it's classical conditioning.
Right.
That we are raised from birth to think that if somebody gives you a pill, you're going to respond to it because it has medicine.
Yeah, and that is not self-reported. That is actually seeing physical responses.
Right. And with classical conditioning, established very famously by Pavlov and his dogs, right? You're responding physically to a psychological stimulus.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you are getting a physiological response. So classical conditioning eventually kind of came to be viewed as the more reasonable explanation for what was going on.
Right.
Because study after study after study has shown that we are having a physical reaction to these inert placebos.
Yeah, one of them in 2002 from UCLA's Neuropsychiatric Institute. They had a couple of groups of patients, and a lot of the placebo studies are for mental conditions. Not all of them, but a lot of them are.
Or in like the clinical trials.
Yeah. Exactly. So this one was for antidepressants, and they had 2 groups that got experimental drugs, like real drugs, and then the third was given the placebo. They spent a few weeks on these pills and monitored their brain activity with the old EEG Wonder Machine. And, well, it's not the Wonder Machine.
The MRI is the Wonder Machine.
It's a Wonder Machine, not the Wonder Machine.
Right.
And the patients on the placebo reported positive effects and showed greater increase of brain activity than those who had responded to the drug.
I remember that it was...
The study?
Yeah, it totally undermined people's faith in antidepressants. Because this was on the other end of like the whole 90s where everybody was on antidepressants. And
I wasn't.
This study came out and was like, people were saying like, do these things even work?
Right.
It was kind of taken the opposite way. Rather than, wow, the placebo effect is really something, it was, wow, antidepressants are fraudulent.
Right.
You know?
Well, I wonder what they were trying to... It was a placebo study, though, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of backfired, or
Yes.
did they even care?
No, I think they very much cared because when compared to placebo, the whole point of a drug trial is to show that this drug is more effective than placebo. It's more effective than the imagination.
Right.
And if it's not, then that means that drug shouldn't be brought to market. Even though now the thinking is more like, that's not necessarily true because we're coming to understand the placebo effect can be very powerful.
Yeah.
Especially depending on the individual too.
Yeah, for sure. The interesting thing about that study is when the EEG lit up, the activity was in different parts of the brain. I think the placebo patient said the prefrontal cortex was lighting up.
Right.
And basically that says that the brain isn't being fooled. It's just doing something different.
Yeah, they responded better to the treatment than the people who responded to the drug.
Yeah.
So some people did respond to the drug, but different parts of their brain were activated by the drug than the people who responded well to the placebo.
That's right.
Even though they felt better.
Yeah.
That's mind-boggling.
It is.
So they reached the same conclusion, but using a totally different region of their brain, and they actually felt better.
Yeah.
That wasn't the first study to prove that there is a physiological response to placebos.
Or last.
There was a dental study from the 70s that I think was the first that showed that if you blocked endorphins, which are nature's pain relievers, you can also block the placebo effect. So the people weren't responding to the placebo like you would expect them to, a pain reliever placebo, because they weren't able to release their natural pain relievers.
Yeah, and that's backed up, I guess, by this 2004 study from University of Michigan. Go Wolverines.
Yeah.
They basically demonstrated that it is related to endorphins specifically. So I guess that backs up that study, because if you can block them.
So here's the thing. It's not that study was related to endorphins specifically. Other studies have found that it can be related to how much a person expresses dopamine specifically.
Right.
So there's like this idea that there's a genetic basis to our predisposition to placebos.
Yeah.
But I think that it's depending on the drug or the effect that you're trying to induce using the placebo effect. Because think about it. If you are somebody who naturally produces more endorphins than somebody else, you're going to naturally produce more endorphins when it's triggered by a placebo than somebody who doesn't produce more endorphins naturally.
Yeah.
So there's a genetic basis to it, I guess, but I think the genetic basis is that the individual must be predispositioned to be able to have that genetic response to the drug or the placebo and have that I guess response to it.
Yeah, and it, like you said, it's all so personal because they found that it is even affected by a person's personal experience with past pills, like the color of the pill, the shape and size of the pill.
Yeah,
will have a different reaction because the person had maybe took another little blue pill for something else.
Sure, and actually blue pills in particular are known to be to have sedative effects as placebos. Red pills are known to have stimulating and pain relieving effects as placebo.
That's odd that they made Viagra blue.
Yeah.
Like, and heavily marketed it as the little blue pill.
Right.
Interesting. Sedative effect?
Yes.
I don't think so.
No. So Chuck, we'll
Not that I'd know.
we've got more stuff about all this coming up. I don't know what we're going to talk about next. It's a grab bag right now.
Hey everybody, we're here to talk to you about Wayfair, who believes that spaces should be functional, they should be comfortable, they should be well designed, and they can be well designed by you with their help.
Your updated space should feel more comfortable, inviting, and practical for everyday use. And we're talking about outdoor seating. We're talking about grills. We're talking about major appliances. If you need storage solutions, Wayfair can help you out. Patio lighting, rugs, decor. It is your one-stop shop for home.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting nice out, so it's time to think about living outdoors for the next few months. And Wayfair knows that outdoor furniture, it's heavy, it's intimidating to assemble. So Wayfair has stepped in and said, we're going to handle the hard part so you don't have to.
That's right. You can shop Wayfair Verified, your shortcut to the good stuff. And that means their team of product specialists are going to vet everything by hand using a 10-point inspection, testing things like, quality materials, functionality, and features, and even how long it takes to build that piece of furniture. And the overall experience save time, reduce hassle, and improved convenience.
Patio season is here, and these deals won't last. So head to wayfair.com right now to get your outdoor space ready for way less. That's WAYFAIR.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hey everybody, I want to talk to you a little bit about Tide Evo because it represents over 10 years of innovation and product development. Tide Evo is a first-of-its-kind technology where tens of thousands of minuscule fibers are spun together to form a 6 times powerful layer packed with scrubbers, brighteners, pre-treaters, and fresheners. And that's going to deliver a breakthrough clean that's so powerful it feels like magic.
Yeah, it is kind of like magic. Tide Evo is revolutionary. A 100% concentrated, waterless laundry tile that's made of compressed microfiber soap layers rather than liquid or powder. And it's not like pods or sheets because it uses 6 layers of detergent fibers to deliver superior cold water cleaning without plastic packaging of any kind. And it provides a mess-free, lightweight solution that dissolves lickety-split. So whenever you run into a laundry challenge, turn to Tide Evo. It's revolutionary, it's magic. Try new Tide Evo. Real laundry magic.
We're back, buddy, and I tell you what we're going to talk about, something that I had never heard of, which I think is super interesting.
Oh, I know.
The nocebo effect.
It's awesome.
It is super cool, and that is when, there's a couple of things. That is when you are taking a placebo and you experience maybe the effects of the pill, which is great, and the side effects of that pill that you think might be, that you're supposed to have.
Right.
So you're actually experiencing side effects that shouldn't be there.
Right. And
because it's a sugar pill.
They notice this in clinical trials too, because when you're carrying out a clinical trial, you have to warn the patients, this drug may give you these terrible side effects. And so they started noticing like people who were on placebo were still experiencing the side effects.
Like physical reactions, like hives.
Yeah.
And itching and things.
Right. So there's a negative side to placebo as well. And nocebo means I shall harm. Like placebo means I shall please.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And they found that, and this is definitely backed up by the idea that it's classical conditioning. They found that people who have gone through chemotherapy can become nauseated when they enter a room that's painted the same color as the room where they received chemo before.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So there's all sorts of ways that the nocebo effect can pop up, but it's pretty mind-boggling as well.
Yeah, and the nocebo doesn't even have to be just with a placebo. You can experience side effects that aren't on the list of a real drug because of what we were talking about, because it looked like another pill you might have had before.
Yeah.
Man, the brain. Powerful stuff.
So going back to Kapchuk, who I'm just kind of a fan of.
Even though he owes you 50?
Yeah. I think if you're into like long-form articles, which I love, go to Harvard Magazine and search for the placebo phenomenon, and it's a profile of him and his work. It's really interesting stuff. But he was saying that it kind of in line with the idea that like the color of the pill or the shape of the pill will have an effect either on the nocebo or the placebo effect.
Right.
He was saying that it seems like the basis of the placebo effect is what's called ritual.
Yeah.
And ritual it involves everything from like the physician's bedside manner to how expensive the patient thinks the pill is,
Yeah.
to how effective the patient thinks the pill is. And he did a study where he carried out what was called schmaltzy, like a schmaltzy care, to where he was just lavishing attention on the patient and telling them how badly he felt that they were going through this.
Right.
But this pill is really effective with your condition. And apparently, not just this study, but other studies show that there's a positive correlation between the ritual
Yeah.
and response to the placebo effect.
Yeah.
So the more you think that this drug is expensive, that this drug is effective, that this physician cares about you,
Yeah.
the greater of a placebo response you're going to have.
Yeah. You know, have you ever been accused of being a hypochondriac by anyone?
No. It's got to be very demeaning.
It is, because it happened to me.
Oh, yeah?
And yeah, I went to the emergency room in New York, as you know. When we were up there recently for our trip, I went to the ER.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And
Man, that was something.
it was something, and it was a result of it was throwing up and nausea from I learned from anti-inflammatory pills I was taking at the time for something else. It had nothing to do with being sick.
Right.
And they figured that out, but they kept, this guy, I called him Nurse Jackie. He was just like Nurse Jackie, except he was a dude. He kept coming by and treating me with things and giving me the IV drip, and I was like, dude, I'm not feeling better. And I'm not a hypochondriac in any way. I didn't go to the doctor for like 18 years straight.
Right.
And I could tell he was looking at me like, oh, I got one of these guys.
You were med-seeking.
Yeah, and I was like, no. And I could tell, I could sense it. And so he finally gave me this thing to drink that knocked me out. I woke up like 20 minutes later and felt better.
Wow, what was it?
I can't remember. It was something to...
Gatorade?
No, it was like 3 different things. It was like a cocktail of stomach-pleasing things, and what's the stuff that like numbs you? Numb my throat, and I can't remember. Lidocaine, I think.
Oh, okay. And it worked, huh?
Yeah, it worked. I woke up and I felt better. I said, I don't feel so nauseous now. And they were checking me out, and I reached up and I felt behind my ear for some reason, and it felt like a golf ball behind my ear. And it had popped up in the last 20 minutes.
Wow.
And so I was literally leaving. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I got this thing behind my ear all of a sudden. And this guy looked at me like, and he called the doctor over, and she was like, yeah, it's very swollen. It's your lymph node. But he wasn't there for that. So he came back over. He's like, hey, what'd she say? I said, well, she said it's a swollen lymph. And he said that you're a hypochondriac. And I was so mad at Nurse Jackie.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, look at it. It's huge. I'm not making this up. And I started defending myself like, I never go to doctors, and I'm not one of those people. And he was like, I was just kidding. And
I was just kidding.
yeah, but it totally made me feel like a jerk.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
imagine if if that happened to you a lot too. I mean, that just
well, that
sucked.
means you're a hypochondriac.
Right.
But no, it definitely made me felt, and I know he was kidding, but it made me feel really bad. Like I'm in there just, what's the syndrome?
Munchausen?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did an episode on that too.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry that happened to you.
Thanks.
I mean, that is BS. But you mentioned the IV.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that was just saline, and that's a placebo in itself.
No, I mean, they told me that. I mean, they didn't say, like, this is the wonder bag.
Right. But there's basically no reason to give you saline solution.
Well, to hydrate me, I guess, if I'd been throwing up.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But, yeah, I guess you're right, though, to see, like, something dripping into your arm. Like, surely that's got to be
right.
doing something.
Yeah.
Well, one interesting thing is, back to placebos, there have been studies that have shown that if you don't tell the patient what they're supposed to do, that they don't work as well.
Yeah, they even found that with drugs that they know for a fact work.
Yeah, if you don't tell them, it won't work.
Yeah, they did a placebo-based trial with a painkiller, and the painkiller proved more effective than placebo. And then they did another trial with the same painkiller, didn't tell anybody what it was, and it didn't work.
Interesting.
And then conversely, this is the one that gets me.
Yeah.
The study where they, this is so crazy.
I know where you're going.
They used an injection that they put into patients' jaws in the study,
Yeah,
which
that
is
sounds awful.
mean,
Yeah.
to induce pain. Like, that was the point. They were trying to induce pain in somebody's jaw using
Saline again.
harmless but painful jaw injections.
Yeah.
And they would inject saline into the jaw to keep the patient's self-reported pain level steady throughout the study.
Yeah.
And then they used another injection and gave them saline, but told them this was a pain reliever. And everybody's pain across the board dropped
Yeah.
as a result in the study.
Unbelievable.
Placebo effect. I could just sit around and rattle off studies all day.
It's pretty interesting. What do you think about Obicalp?
Yeah, it seems... Kids are dumb. You could just call it placebo anyway. I think it's unnecessary.
Well, Obicalp is placebo spelled backwards, obviously, and that in 2008 was, I guess, sort of invented, or not invented, but coined and packaged by a mother, I think Australian, named Jen Boutner. She Australian?
I don't know.
I think so.
Is that an Australian last name?
And that, no, I don't think there's such a thing. And so that's basically placebos for kids. It's marketed. You can buy a bottle of Obicalp, and it's for when your kid isn't feeling good, but but you know your kid's not sick, that kind of thing.
Right.
And so you give the kid the pill, and it makes them feel better. And some people have problems with this and say you're teaching your child that you get relief from pills only.
Right.
When they're, don't necessarily need to be taking pills all the time. And proponents say, you know what, it's the same thing as putting a bandage or kissing a boo-boo. It's, like you said, these are dumb little kids.
I remember
them a
growing
little
up
cherry
with the children's aspirin, the orange aspirin. I'm pretty sure those were just sugar pills.
You think?
I ate a whole bottle of them once,
Like
and I was
Flint?
fine. No,
Well, but those are vitamins. So.
it was children's aspirin,
Oh. I thought
and
you
they
were
were
saying vitamins.
orange flavored.
Yeah, I totally remember those.
Yeah, I think those were probably a placebo.
I remember the taste. Like, I can still sense that.
They were good.
They
That's
were
why
delicious.
I ate a whole bottle of them once because I was a little fat kid.
You didn't get sick?
No.
Those sugar pills?
I think so. Because I even remember I was old enough thinking, like, I probably shouldn't have eaten that whole bottle of those things. Because it's medicine.
And washed it down with a scotch.
And I was right. And that was fine afterward.
Well, they do have legit baby aspirin now, though.
Do they?
I'm starting to doubt everything.
So, talk about doubt. There are plenty of criticisms of all this. And we'll talk about them right after this.
Stuff you should know.
Hey, everybody. I want to talk to you a little bit about Tide Evo because it represents over 10 years of innovation and product development. Tide Evo is a first-of-its-kind technology where tens of thousands of minuscule fibers are spun together to form a 6 times powerful layer packed with scrubbers, brighteners, pre-treaters, and fresheners. And that's going to deliver a breakthrough clean that's so powerful, it feels like magic.
Yeah, it is kind of like magic. Tide Evo is revolutionary. A 100% concentrated, waterless laundry tile that's made of compressed microfiber soap layers rather than liquid or powder. And it's not like pods or sheets because it uses 6 layers of detergent fibers to deliver superior cold water cleaning without plastic packaging of any kind. And it provides a mess-free, lightweight solution that dissolves lickety-split. So whenever you run into a laundry challenge, turn to Tide Evo. It's revolutionary. It's magic. Try new Tide Evo. Real laundry magic.
Dell PCs with Intel Inside are built for the moments that matter, for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. Built for the busy days that turn into all-night study sessions, the moment you're working from a cafe and realize every outlet's taken.
Yeah, the times you're deep in your flow and the absolute last thing you need is an auto update throwing off your momentum. That's why Dell builds tech that adapts to the way you actually work. Built with a long-lasting battery so you're not scrambling for the closest outlet, and built-in intelligence that makes updates around your schedule, not in the middle of it.
That's right. They don't build tech just for tech's sake. They build it for you. Find technology built for the way you work at Dell.com/Dell PCs. Built for you.
So, Chuck, I'm big time into the placebo effect.
I can tell.
You're big time into the placebo effect.
Mhm.
There are people who are not.
That's true.
It raises plenty of skepticism, which again is one of the reasons why my hat is off to Ted Kapchuk, because he has responded to the criticism. He's adjusted his methodology.
Yeah.
He's doing really good science in the investigation of the placebo effect. I like that guy. Still, skeptics say there are a lot of things that you can use to explain away the placebo effect.
Yeah.
For example, it's possible the person was actually a hypochondriac.
Yeah.
They weren't actually sick in the first place.
Yeah, it's possible that some people get better with no treatment.
Yeah. It's possible that some diseases do treat themselves.
Yeah.
They just get better over the course of time.
Yeah, well, that's
and
what I meant.
if you overlay a placebo effect or a placebo and you put that over the same course of time,
right,
it's going to look like it was the placebo that did it when really it just healed itself.
Yeah, which is why critics call for studies where there is one group that is not given any medication whatsoever.
Right, exactly.
Which makes sense.
So one of the other criticisms, though, is that if a doctor is saying, and there are, like you said, plenty of doctors who do this.
Yeah.
There were studies that found that a 2007 study from the University of Chicago found 45% of 200 doctors surveyed in the Chicago area had prescribed placebos before.
Yeah.
At some point during their career.
And in 2008, they did a little more robust one, 600 doctors all across the U.S., and half of them said that they had prescribed placebos.
So this is still going on.
It's a thing.
It's pretty widespread.
Yeah.
And the criticism is, well, that means doctors are lying to their patients. They're using deception to practice medicine, and that's unethical. So
Yeah.
the AMA came out with its guideline that's kind of, it flies in the face of the placebo effect, or the idea that if you give somebody a placebo and tell them it's a placebo, that it shouldn't work, which is not necessarily true.
Yeah, in 2006, the AMA came out and said, quote, physicians may use placebos for diagnosis or treatment only if the patient is informed and agrees to it. To me, that means it's not a placebo. I mean, I guess it is, but if you know it is, I don't get it. Like, what's the point of a doctor coming in and saying, I'm going to give you this sugar pill.
Right.
Would you like a prescription for sugar pills? And you say, yes, I would.
Supposedly there are studies that show the placebo effect is still possible.
Still works.
Yeah, sometimes. But across the board, pretty much everyone believes that if the placebo effect is a real thing,
the cat's out of the bag.
It is part of the imagination.
Yeah.
And that you do kind of have to fool the person into thinking that it's a real thing. That expectation coupled with imagination provides the placebo effect.
Yeah, and this article points out, too, we're not just saying these doctors are lying liars. Apparently, one tack that a doctor can take is to say, I have something that I think can help, but I don't exactly know what the deal is with it or how it works.
Right.
But I'll give it to you if you want to try it. And you know how people are. A lot of people are like, sure, I'll try anything.
Right, exactly. That's not really deception, because if the doctor's prescribing a placebo, he or she obviously does believe in the placebo effect, so he or she does think it could work, but doesn't know how.
Yeah, or if it only really does work in 30% of the population, then you've got a 70% chance of striking out anyway with this course of treatment.
Right.
So you're back to where you started to begin with.
Yeah, and again,
so that falls into the what's the point category.
Now, again, we should say that a lot of physicians who do prescribe placebos aren't just doing it to toy with their patients. They're doing it because they think that their patient will suffer more without it.
Sure.
Or they just don't have anything that could be used to address the patient's problem. Like, they can't find anything medically wrong with the patient. But just saying that to the patient's not going to help, so here's a sugar pill.
Yeah.
The other tack that a doctor can take too, Chuck, is to say, hey, new patient, welcome to my practice. Let me tell you about the placebo effect. And in the course of me treating you, sometime during your lifetime, I may find that a placebo will be the best thing to use.
Yeah.
Are you okay with me doing that to you at some point, possibly?
Basically, like signing up for my own personal long-term study.
Kind of, yeah.
As a doctor.
But wouldn't you, from that point on, be like, you just gave me the placebo, didn't you? This is a placebo.
Yeah.
I know it's a placebo.
I wouldn't know which way was up. Like, I don't know how to feel.
That's the drug.
Better, worse, side effects, none.
Yep.
And the other tack doctors can take is to knock off early and go hit the golf course.
Which they do that one a lot.
on TV. That's such an old bit.
Trope.
It's like, cops and their donuts. Is that
Doctors in Golf?
Yeah.
I think that one's pretty accurate.
I mean, in Caddyshack, the doctor was Dr. Beeper. Yeah.
He was the one who just got mad all the time, right?
No, that was Judge Smales. Dr. Beeper was, he was just one of the guys, one of the foursome.
Oh, okay.
That I think he played.
Was it Buck Henry? Was he the doctor?
No. I can picture the guy.
It's Buck Henry, right? Is that who you're picturing?
I don't think so.
We'll figure this out offline. How about that?
Yeah.
All right. If you want to know more about the placebo effect, and believe us, there is plenty more to know about it, you can type those 2 words in the search bar at howstuffworks.com. And since I said that, it's time for listener mail.
I'm going to call this Australian last name. He says, Dear Josh, Chuck, and Jerry, and anyone else I should thank. And I think we never mention other people that support us.
Didn't we already talk about an Australian last name?
Yeah, that was the joke.
Oh, okay.
It's called a callback.
Gotcha. I just felt like deja vu.
This listener mail, though, made me realize that we don't thank other folks a lot besides Jerry and like Noel and Matt. But let's do that now.
Okay.
Like Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca is, what's her official title? I don't even know what titles are around here.
Producer? Web producer, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, she handles our website.
Yeah.
And makes everything look great.
Yeah.
And Sherry, even though we do our own social media, Sherry does social media for How Stuff Works.
Yeah, and she throws to us a lot.
Throws to us and helps us out a lot. And Joe, our buddy Joe,
yeah,
is a huge help. And that's kind of the crack staff. I mean, we're answering our own emails and we're doing a lot of our own stuff.
Right.
But doesn't mean we don't have help. You know what I'm saying?
No, we have tons of help.
So anyway, I just want to say thanks to those people.
That is very nice of you, Chuck. Sure. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, I figured 7 years in, we might as well shout out some of our help. So this is from Alex, and he said to thank anyone else he doesn't know about. And he's from Perth, Western Australia, which is nothing like Eastern Australia. I'm a 19-year-old aspiring electrician trapped in the depths of Western Australia's mining downturn. Due to layoffs in the mining sector, I've been unable to find an apprenticeship, and I would have lost hope if it weren't for you guys. It was just after New Year's, January 6, 2014, when I came across the magical production called Stuff You Should Know. As at the time of this writing, it is May 10th, and I have finished the epic adventure of 600 episodes plus. That's in a very short time, my friend.
Yeah, it is.
It's been an amazing journey, and I want to thank you for pulling me through the hard days of resume writing and delivering. Long days of waiting previously were mind-numbing, but have since been filled with interesting, insightful, and overall incredible, enjoyable content. My favorites, gene patents, lobotomies, and the masterfully dictated Halloween episodes. We like those too.
Those
Alex.
are some of my favorites, although Christmas, I think, is the best.
So cue the existential crisis after you guys forming such an integral part of my life over the past 5 months. I don't know how I'm going to acclimate myself to just 2 a week. And we hear that a lot from people who mainline the show.
Yeah, there's like a withdrawal period.
Yeah, and I've done that with TV shows, you know.
I do that with Fresh Air.
You mainline it, and then you're like, well, I need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would just like to sincerely say thank you to both of you and Jerry and anyone else for pulling me through these times, and hope the future contains a stable job for myself, more content for yourselves to pass on to the Stuff You Should Know Army, and an ever-growing fan base that you can both woo with your dulcet tones and enlightening information. Yours faithfully, that is Alex Giddings from Perth.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, Alex, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hope you get a job, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. If you're in Perth and you're looking for an electrician, contact Alex.
He's shockingly good.
Nice, Chuck.
So terrible.
We're ending on that one. If you want to get in touch with us, you can tweet to us at SYSK Podcast. You can join us on Facebook.com/StuffYouShouldKnow. You can send us an email to stuffpodcast@howstuffworks.com. And as always, join us at our home on the web, StuffYouShouldKnow.com.
Stuff You Should Know is a production of iHeartRadio's How Stuff Works. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
What's up, cousin?
I want a new phone. Have you seen any good deals?
Everyone has free phones, but when I switched to T-Mobile, I got more value and so much more.
Like streaming included.
And travel benefits.
And the best part? The price of your talk, text, and data is guaranteed for 5 years.
Get more benefits and more value. At T-Mobile, families save and get a 5-year price guarantee. Switch now at T-Mobile.com. Qualifying plan requires price guarantee on talk, text, and data. Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. See T-Mobile.com.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Save up to 30% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/iHeart. Terms apply.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.